Hi, it's Pastor Chris popping in with a quick reminder that if you like this video, it would be a huge help if you could share it with your friends. That will help more people see this video and find our other videos and hear the good news of Jesus Christ and get to know our community here in DeWitt a little bit better and maybe even find a community for themselves. So thank you very much for sharing what we've made here with the people who you know and love. And now, on with the video. On the one hand, Christianity is very much a religion about Jesus. It is a cornerstone of our faith that God came into the world as one of us, among a dispossessed people in an occupied land. That God put on humanity. That God put on creation and leapt from glory into the pit of our despair, our grief, our sin, our brokenness. And that Jesus is the one in whom we see the most divine divinity and the most human humanity. The holy and the broken meet. And that when God did that, we responded by seeing him and killing him. We nailed God to a cross and laid God in a tomb. And in doing that, because God was wearing humanity, because God was wearing creation, we nailed ourselves to a cross and laid ourselves in a tomb. We nailed the whole world to a cross and laid the whole world in a tomb. Everything was dead. And then God got up. God came back to life and brought us back to life and brought all of creation back to life and opened up the whole new possibility of living. Christianity is very much a religion about Jesus. On the other hand, Christianity is very much a religion of Jesus. When God laid aside glory and leapt from glory into the pit of our grief and our despair and our sin and our brokenness, God said, I've been here. I built this place. I know the way out. Come, follow me. Even when God was on his way to the cross, God was saying, come, follow me. Even as we laid God in a tomb, God was saying, come, follow me. And when God came back to life and brought us back to life, God said, come, follow me. I know how to be human. You too can be human. Christianity is very much a religion of Jesus. There are a lot of examples of how that is true. The one that I always go back to is that Jesus led a generous life. When someone needed healed, even if they were someone outside of Jesus' official community, Jesus healed them. When people were hungry and a giant crowd was gathered, Jesus took a few loaves and a few fish and made a feast for 5,000. When Jesus sat at a table with the one who would betray him to the authorities, Jesus said to him, even to Judas, here is my body broken for you. Here is the new covenant in my blood poured out for you. Jesus led a generous life. And there is real, actual science that backs up the idea that people who cultivate generous habits, things like giving money regularly, things like volunteering time regularly, things like visiting friends and family and neighbors regularly, people who live generous lives are healthier. Like really actually physically healthier, are happier, are less prone to depression, have more meaning in their lives. It is almost as though we were made to live generously. And part of what Jesus was calling us to do was to follow him in living generously. That is one of the ways that we human. It is sometimes tempting to think that we can separate these things. There are churches who are very firm on Christianity is a religion about Jesus. So believe the things about Jesus. The religion of Jesus is an extra add-on. It's nice, but the important thing is the about. And there are churches who are very much about, we are about a religion of Jesus. So do the of Jesus stuff. And the about stuff is a nice little add-on. But do the of. And I'm not convinced that those can be so easily separated. I think they come tied together, enmeshed with each other. The religion of Jesus shows us things about Jesus. And the things about Jesus give authority to the things of Jesus. Christianity is very much a religion that is both about and of Jesus, all tied together. And some of those things we are really certain about, and some of those things we have a lot of questions about, and some of those things we are simply taking on faith and hoping. But it encompasses all of this. And I'm telling you this because our passage today is sometimes called the Great Commission. Go out and make disciples of all nations. Spread the good news, evangelize, get people over here. And there's sometimes a risk that we make that all about Jesus. That is why some churches love to do it. That is why some churches, sometimes this church, is a little afraid to do it. Because we can think that what we are called to do is go out and simply tell people about Jesus. Is simply to give that little, the cornerstone of our faith is, and you better believe it. But that is not what Jesus asks us to do here. Jesus is talking to his disciples. Disciple, just a fancy word for student. Those people who sit in the little desks and take notes. Hopefully. Jesus is saying, I've shown you how to human. Now go out and show other people how to human. Teach them to obey all of the things I've commanded you. And so there are two steps here. One is that we are called to be disciples. Not of something about Jesus, but of Jesus. We are called to be students, to be wondering and questioning and learning how to do those things that Jesus showed us and asked us and told us how to do. And then we are called to teach others, to show others, and ask others, and tell others how to human. Not simply things about Jesus, but what Jesus told us, which is still tied up with those things about Jesus, but what Jesus told us and what people showed us, maybe even how to live generously, how to be people who give, how to be people who welcome, how to be people who love, how to be people who care, how to be people who live in solidarity with our friends and our neighbors, with strangers and with enemies, even if that takes us to a cross and to a tomb and to new life. I will tell you that I am still learning how to do that. This isn't a one and done kind of class. It doesn't end at baptism. It doesn't end at confirmation. It doesn't end maybe ever. We are all always still learning. But even in that, we can take the things that we know and teach. We can show, we can ask, we can tell. And in so doing, we can invite people, not just to this church and not just into this religion, but into a way of being human that is rooted in life, that is rooted in love, that is rooted in that generous living. And that brings me to this. It is easy to think that a word like evangelism, the sharing of good news, is about creating converts. And it might be a little bit. But the more important part of that sharing is the invitation. That chance to say, here is what I am learning. Here is what I am coming to know. Here is how I am coming to live. And it is wonderful. And you might like it too. Because wouldn't it be great if we lived in that kind of world? Wouldn't it be great if we were all part of a community trying to create a world rooted in love? Come and join. Try it on. See how it feels. And be part of this. And so, the call in this moment is to learn and to grow and to invite.